what's up you guys, this is Rob from The Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Snapshot, we're gonna have a little bit of a chat about Nezha Revisited and take a look at his Umbral Prince build. Alrighty, so alongside Nezha's look skin came a handful of tweaks to really just improve his efficacy overall, and if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I definitely feel like this was one of those very successful reworks, in such a way where it doesn't shit on the original players that really liked his gameplay to begin with, but it also boosts up his efficacy so that other players are attracted to the kind of like his new gameplay style, which I'll tell you right now, I think is absolutely fantastic. You guys know that I had a lot of fun with him before, but now I feel like, oh, I'm having a lot of fun and legitimately contributing, which is a great feeling. So one of the things that I do want to make mention, which doesn't really delve into his abilities, but it kind of does, is that the thing that stands out to me the most, and I'm sorry Pablo that this may or may not be your doing, but legitimately the animations. The animations are definitely one of the biggest improvements to his kit. He feels more maneuverable, he doesn't feel so stuck in any one place at any point in time, and the Firewalker animation where he does a little hop, number one, it encapsulates how adorable and cute he is, but at the same time, it also makes it so it's functional where it's not completely hindering to, you know, have him stuck in an animation as he's trying to run around. Definitely love that, loved all of the changes that they made in there. However, let's go ahead and jump into the abilities. So first and foremost, they made Firewalker a duration-based ability instead of a channeled ability, which I think was a big, like, thumbs up, because now he benefits from radial energy gain. So I believe, like, things alongside Trinity's Energy Vampire, energy plates that are put down, he gets all of that goodness without having all of that kind of, like, turned off in him. So I really like that. The only thing that I do have to say about the ability, and there's kind of like a caveat to that, is the duration, the base duration on it is so long, which is a good thing, that sometimes I kind of forget to refresh it because of the fact that, like, I'm just like, oh, it's probably still on because the duration is so long. But like I just said, you can actually recast Firewalker, which I'm not sure if I saw in any of the patch notes, but that is a major thing. So, you know, when you've only got like about 5 to 10 seconds left, you can go ahead and recast it, because literally I think with the prime continuity, I'm sitting at like 40 plus seconds of Firewalker, which I absolutely love. So it's great. It's just a little bit of gameplay that I need to get used to. Now, moving on to a second ability, which is Chakram. What did they do to this ability? This ability is like they just took all the goodness and they just slapped it into one ability. So for those of you guys who have no clue what Chakram can do, is number one, it increases health orb drops by 100%. It increases energy drops by 35%. Those ones are unmoddable, so those are there. So whenever you get a Chakram, it's gonna fling out at an enemy, and it's gonna tag that enemy, and the mark for the enemy, you know, to let them know that they're under the effects of the Chakram, is a fucking hula hoop. It's an energy hula hoop around these enemies, and it's little touches like that that really kind of embrace Nezha's like youthful, like kind of trickstery vibe. Definitely love that. But yeah, so they're marked with those, and if you kill them, they will drop a health orb and an energy orb. 35% chance to drop an energy orb. Now, I've tested this out because I didn't know whether the statistics on the screen meant like 100% chance to drop energy orb or 100% increased chance to drop, a health orb, sorry. 100% increased chance to drop a health orb. But I was testing this out in the Simulacrum, and every enemy that I seemed to kill that had a mark definitely dropped a health orb, so that's definitely good. It kind of like matches up with Necros's Despoil. So that's always nice. And then the 35% chance to drop an energy orb, that is pretty freaking amazing, because I think only Mag, Trinity, Nezha, and Octavia have abilities that can kind of like fuck around with your energy, so it's definitely nice to add another one to the roster. And because of the fact that he can drop those energy orbs, he can use certain things like Arcane Energize a little bit more efficiently. Now, one of the things that I did want to point out here is that Pablo did make a tweet a little bit earlier. I guess he'd been watching some videos and some streams or whatnot. But one of the things that he noticed is there was a lot of unintentional teleporting to hoops. So maybe this is something that, maybe I'll link the tweet down in the description box, where he's asking for feedback on whether we should just have Nezha be able to teleport to chakrams that you power through. Okay, so for those of you guys who are unaware, you can actually power throw your chakrams now. It's no longer needed like with a mod. You can actually just do it on its own. You'll charge it up, you'll throw it, it'll go in a straight line and fly straight back to you, and it will deal more damage in this, or at least that's what the statistics on, you know, the ability screen would imply. I've actually used this a lot. I really like it. I think my only complaint about it is it feels like it's a little slow on the charge up. So if maybe we could, you know, reduce that charge up time just by a little bit, it would feel a bit better. Because I do feel like having such a long charge up on it does kind of stop me from like moving and whatnot, because I'm like, oh, I gotta charge this up and then I gotta make sure it's aimed right. So that is definitely one of my little gripes about that. However, the Chakram is definitely one of my favorite things that they've added. I just did not even use it before. I barely ever used it before, and now I feel like I'm using it all the time, which I think it makes it a successful ability change. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about is, oh, I didn't even say this about the Chakram. There's also a damage multiplier that is affected by power strength. I have like a list, like literally my list for Chakram is just super long to talk about, so that got buried in there. But there's a damage multiplier that's affected by power strength, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So now those enemies are softened up and they'll drop orbs for you and your team. So love it. Warding Halo is the one that I think a lot of people had talked about and were kind of showing some concern about. As you guys know, number one, it does have the ability to absorb damage, but the other thing that it will do at the same time now is it will absorb 90% of the damage dealt to you. You'll take 10% of the damage, and then the Warding Halo will ward the rest of that damage. So that's kind of a bit of a change because it would be a 100% ward before, aka you just wouldn't have to deal with any of the damage coming in. But from my play, and I've done a good amount of testing, I've taken it on Kuva Floods, I've probably got a Kuva Survival running in the background right now that we were just in, where we just kind of played to see exactly how things kind of played out. And the change to Warding Halo, I don't really think kills his survivability all that much. I've actually played around in the Simulacrum. I know the Simulacrum isn't like a real... It's not a 100% simulation of what would happen in a real battle, but I do have to say that it was very effective there. And I think that the 90% damage reduction is completely fine. It's fine. Some other people might disagree, and you know what? I will need, if I change my mind on this after even more play, then I don't know, I'll toss a pinned comment or something. But legitimately, I think the Warding Hail is fine because, number one, it's got a damage absorption multiplier, which is affected by power strength. So right now, the damage that's coming in and hitting me is, I believe, 4 times a little bit more than that. 4 times whatever comes in is added to my shield. And then the cool thing is, once your Warding Halo runs out, it emits this AoE fire proc, so it kind of, you know, staggers enemies. Are like, oh, I'm on fire, I'm panicked. So they're not hitting you, and you get a little bit of an invulnerability window where you can go ahead and recast Warding Halo. So I feel like they've done a lot to Warding Halo to make it a lot more survivable, but still give you that 90% damage reduction. Now, I will point out a couple things. You will be able to use Hunter's Adrenaline now because of the fact that enemies will be able to hit you a little bit, so you can get energy back from that as well. In addition to that, you can also use health health conversion, because of course when you pick up some of the health orbs that you've been absorbing, or some of the health orbs that you've been creating, you'll be able to actually pick it up and create one of these health conversion stacks. So if that's kind of the way that you want to build your Nezha, that's definitely a good option for you guys there. So Warding Halo works on a lot of different levels. I personally feel totally fine about it after using it. So I can't really complain. You know, the 90% thing I think is fine. And last but not least, actually last and kind of least, if I'm going to be honest with you, Divine Spears. So the new animation for Divine Spears, love it. I love the flair that we gave Nezha when his animation came out originally. I'm like, oh, it's so flary, but yeah, it does kind of lock him in place and make him an easy shooting target. So now the animation has been shortened like greatly. And the thing that you could do is you could throw the Chakram at any enemy that's speared, and it'll produce another chakram. It'll actually split. Unfortunately, it only splits into 2 from what I've seen so far. There's a lot of, okay, when you play with Nezha, there's a lot of energy effects going on. So from what I've seen, I've only seen 2 splits. I'd like more, but that's just me asking for more. It's not gonna, like, it's not one of those things that I'm gonna, like, campaign for, you know. This isn't like veteran rights or anything here, but literally this is just kind of like one of those things where I'm like, it'd be nice, I'd like it, you know what I mean? So that's definitely something that I'd like to see, but Divine Spears just feels better because of the fact that you can cast it much more freely, and the animations are a lot better. So that basically does it just for the whole kind of like feedback portion of this. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at the build real quick. Alright, so as you can see, I have loaded up 20 billies here, and I am completely vulnerable. So what I'm going to do now is, as soon as they shoot at me, I'm going to go ahead and turn on Warding Halo, and I'm just going to absorb as much of the damage as they can shoot at me as possible. I'm just going to go ahead and toss out a little Chakram ability. And one of the things that I loved, it was actually a viewer that pointed this out to me. I don't remember whether it was on stream or if it was just in a PM, but doing this with the HEMA for the headshot health regeneration, oh my god, very, 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 very nice. So I'm absolutely loving that. And as you can see here, we're creating so many energy orbs, it's kind of insane. Oh, there you go. There's the invulnerability period. Then you're able to go ahead and recast it. Oh, and then recast it again. And then go ahead and absorb all of that damage. So as you can see, I've got like a 20k shield. So as long as you're just on top of making sure to recast it, and it's got a nice flashy animation too. That animation I am a big, big, big fan of because we can kind of see exactly what's going on. So I'm not really playing him, as you can tell, to like his full expanse. I'm not using Divine Spears or anything. I'm just kind of showing the tankiness of his abilities. So as you can see, we're sitting at like 23k when it comes to his armor, because of that multiplier, which I think is an absolutely fantastic addition. The invincibility that you get at the very, very end of it is kind of nice as well. Let me remind myself to throw out these hula hoops on these guys. As you can see, see, there's the flashy animation. You just gotta pay more attention to the flashy animation. One of the things that I will say is I wish that they extended this flashy animation. Maybe not a flashy animation, but maybe audio. For when Firewalker runs out, because legitimately I tend to forget. I just tend to forget the duration on it is so long. So as you can see, anybody who tells you that the that Nezha's not tanky enough, they're clearly okay. I don't want to sound mean, but there's an animation on your screen that literally shows off when you turn off Warding Halo. At the same time, you've also fire procced enemies around you. At the same time, you've also gone invincible. So a part of me is a little bit like, I don't know if I agree with these people who are having concerns about it. But if you really want to see, like, Nezha at his full potential, let's go ahead and turn on a little bit of Firewalker here. So let's cause a little bit of a commotion. This is what I love about Nezha, because literally it's just energy effects everywhere. Like, I'm not even taking hits at this point. We're going ahead and throwing chakrams. See, as you can see there, it looks like there's a lot of chakrams, but it maybe is only like 2. Is it multiple? I think they are splitting into 2. Oh, maybe I'm crazy. 1, 2, 3. Oh, they are splitting into multiple. I lied, Pablo. I think you listened, and I love you forever. Oh my god, it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. So our dreams have come true. Ignore my lie. Oh, see, there you go. There's the animation. All you gotta do is pay attention to that little animation. I'm not even running around. I shouldn't be running around. This is fucking Nezha. Like, if Nezha, who's not running, is guilty. I just got mesmerized by all of the extra. And look at, see, like I was saying, the animations on Divine Spears just feels so much better. I love it. It's so good. It is so good, and it's so fucking pretty. I'll tell you that right now. So definitely into it. And you see how much control he has? You see how his ability to kind of like really just energy things. And remember that. Did you see how quick that the Spears animation was? Down, up. Literally, before enemies are even able to get off of the ground. So I kind of really love that. And it looks like halos up top, like when you do your little halo thing. But as you can see right there, ooh, we got double energy orbs off of that, dude. So I'm really feeling very strongly about the fact that this rework was great. This rework was absolutely fantastic. But let me say one thing. The Simulacrum definitely lies. Simulacrum definitely lies because the tracking on these Chakrams are really, really good here, but I feel like when they're actually like out in the wild, they don't seem as great. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. They don't seem as great out in the wild as they do here in the Simulacrum. So that's just you know, my personal feelings on that standpoint. But otherwise, everything else is really, really fantastic, especially when you're using his abilities in synergy. You don't even notice the whole, oh, you're taking 90% damage. You just kind of gotta you know, pay attention to, what do you call this? You just gotta pay attention to the animations that kind of come up. Oh, see, I didn't even have Firewalker on, and that's the sin that Rob has when it comes to the new Nezha rework. That's the one thing that I'm gonna need to work on, because that is a Rob problem, not a, you know, not a rework problem, if I'm gonna say that at all. So this is kind of like, you've seen the gameplay that I showed earlier, and whoop, up. See? That's what I mean by paying attention to what's going on. But yeah, so you've seen the gameplay from that earlier. You've seen the gameplay in the Simulacrum and his survivability here. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the build itself. And there's a lot to chat about when it comes to the build, because I don't want to say it was hard, but I had to make some, what's the word I want to say? I had to make some executive decisions that may make some people upset. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So as you can see right now, we are using Umbral mods, Umbral Intensify, and Umbral Vitality. Some people are already going to be triggered by that, but I did try to use Umbral Fiber in this, and it really, I guess the way that I wanted to say, it really limited how far I wanted to be able to take the build. So I felt that it was better for me to not use Umbral Fiber. He's already very survivable, as you can see. So Umbral Fiber really only served to increase Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify. That's really the only point that I would have had it in there. But, you know, we already could put Power Drift in, and it just kind of really limited the build. So anybody who's like, you gotta use all of them, did you do the calculation? Yes, I looked at it, and I just wasn't happy with the way that it turned out. So this is the way that I'm actually using it. So we do have the 2 Umbral mods in there, in addition to Umbral, additional to Steel Fiber as his survivability mods. Now, I've been loving Arcane Energize with Prime Flow and Streamline. I think that that's great because he's able to create his own energy orbs, so he can stay topped off. I tried to use this without Prime Flow to go ahead and free up another slot, but it just felt a little bit limiting. It didn't feel right. And as many of you guys know, I don't run Xeneric on this build. Like I like the melee from Naramon, you know, more. Now, of course, that might change when they go ahead and jump into Melee 3.0, and you might see me use Xeneric at that point in time, but right now, I like the melee stuff. It makes me happy, so that's what I'm going with. And then I've got Streech, and Augur Reach. I like melded them together. But yeah, I've got Stretch and Augur Reach because I love the ability to just have Divine Spears everywhere and coat everything, but really that's kind of where things will start to differ up. Everything here I feel is kind of necessary except for Augur Reach, Power Drift, and Energy Siphon. So let's talk about those. I am an avid Nezha Pyroclastic Flow user. I loved Pyroclastic Flow, and a part of me was like, oh, do I keep it in? Do I not keep it in? And I decided kind of, I guess for a better overall look at this build, is to not use it, and that's mainly because of the fact that I decided if I put a dash slot here for people who want to put more power strength in, you know, for the what is it called, for the damage, you know, the damage multiplication off of Chakram, you know, you could put in Augur Secrets, you know, for people who really wanted a long duration, for those who wanted a long duration Firewalker or a long duration Divine Spears, you could toss in Augur Message. So that's the reason why I did not put in one of the augment mods. Don't hate me, I'm sorry. I know some of you guys love your Safeguard, Reaping Chakram, and Pyroclastic Flow. In fact, a lot of people have been chatting about Reaping Chakram. For those of you guys who don't know what it is, it will actually it'll increase the ring's damage by 2 times for 2 times, and the chance for enemies to drop health orbs on death by 25%, so you can get even more health out of them and you can deal even more damage. And especially when you use the powered up version of Reaping Chakram, because of the fact that it does do more damage at its base, it'll, you know, you'll be able to deal a shit ton of damage as it hits more and more targets throughout. So just saying, it's definitely something you can do. You can go ahead and polarize that out and go ahead and put in like the little, I guess, scratch marks if you want to use an augment. Now, the other things that I do want to put in here is Power Drift. You don't necessarily need that one. You could go ahead and change that with Coaction Drift if you want more range. It's really, really up to you for that. And then Energy Siphon, I was considering putting in a growing power, right? Growing power. The status effects gives us more ability strength, because now you can refresh your Firewalker, and I'm like, okay, that's really, really cool. Like, I'd like to have that on there as a possibility. But at the same time, sometimes you got to take one for the team with a little bit of corrosive projection. So I'm kind of like, all right, well, Energy Siphon, corrosive projection, I feel like I'll take that over power strength. So that's just a me choice. However, do be aware that if that's something that you want to do, feel free. Now, the build itself does say that I've used 9 Forma. You only really need 5 Forma on this, and I believe the 5 Forma that I use is 1, 2, so 4 dashes and a scratch mark in the polarity. And that's the base of it. I'm also using Arcane Energize to, of course, pump up the energy gains and keep primed flow and keep, so basically I can spam a shit ton of chakrams all over the place, which is definitely my favorite ability of the bunch now. I am gonna say one thing about this build. I am very, very sorry about the fact that I didn't use energy conversion or health conversion. Like, it would have been so cool, but I feel like it's just more of a gimmick that I can't fit in. And at the same time, I know that some people were probably wanted to go ahead and use Rage on it. Me personally, I use a lot of CC when I'm on Nezha, so Rage enemies just weren't hitting me enough when I was using Rage or Hunter's Adrenaline. So that's just my take on the situation, and this is the current build that I am playing along with it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys really like the new Nezha rework, because I'm having a ton of fun with it. I'm really, really liking it, and I like seeing, I mean, he's like more of a fun character, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't take him seriously, and people, he gets a lot of shit. He gets a lot of shit because, you know, he is a little fun boy. He is a little fun boy, but Nezha is definitely best boy. Now, am I going to say that, you know, we're going to see him in super duper extended, like, survivals and all that kind of stuff, and he's going to be a new endgame? I don't necessarily know. But is he more effective as a CC kind of support role with some damage mixed in? I definitely think so. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of zoning potential, and the fact that he can go through and create multiple chakrams. Not just there's the issue that he was talking about, that Pablo was talking about, the fact that sometimes you will teleport when you don't mean to teleport. But yeah, so the fact that you can do that, the fact that Divine Spears literally multiplies your chakrams like I had hoped and wished for and dreamed for. See, because we got one, wait, hold on, let's see, let's refresh. 1, 2, there's got to be more. I saw more. I'm not crazy, right? Okay, let's hit them. 1, 2, 3. I think that was like 3 of them, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there was at least 3 there. I'm not crazy, right? Anyway, let me know in the comments below if I am crazy. I'm pretty sure that it multiplied beyond 2, which I'm very, very happy about. But yeah, he's got so much of an ability of self-sustain, being able to sustain his, you know, energy reserves, being able to go ahead and, you know, refill his health back. I think that he's great at what he's able to do. See, there's so many there. But yeah, so for me, the Nezha Rework is a big thumbs up. That's the Umbral build that I'm currently using on him. Am I sad that I'm not using Pyroclastic Flow and the other ones? Yes, I am very, very sad. However, I think it's a decent trade-off. I think it's definitely a decent trade-off. So let me just go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and kill these guys. What is that? Oops. Anyway, let's go ahead and kill them off, and I'm gonna go and let you guys decide how you feel about it. Toss all of your feelings down in the comments below. Are you loving it? Are you loving the new skin? Like I am, we'll have a dress to kill on it as soon as I feel like I've got 3 good ones to show you. I want to make sure they're quality, but that about does it for me for now. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!